Old Man Tiber woke up to find the sun just a peep in the sky. He yawned a big wide yawn and thought, time for fishing. His little boat, the Sardine, waited for him. It was old and a bit leaky, but Tiber loved the Sardine. He grabbed his fishing rod and his tin of wriggly worms. Today felt like any other day as he pushed the Sardine into the water. The water was calm and blue and gulls cried up in the sky. "Hello, gulls!" Tiber shouted. He rowed out, not too far, just to his favourite quiet spot. He always fished in this spot. Sometimes he caught a cod, sometimes only a tiddler, but he was always hopeful. Tiber baited his hook carefully with a juicy worm, plump and pink. He cast his line with a swish. Plop! The hook sank down into the deep, dark water. Now all he had to do was wait. Waiting was part of fishing. He hummed a little tune, a silly song about a fish. He felt quite content, did Tiber. The sun climbed higher in the sky, warming Tiber's wrinkly face. He watched a little crab scuttle sideways on the boat's edge before it plopped back into the sea. Everything was peaceful, just as it should be. No sign of anything peculiar, not a hint of magic in the air, just an old man fishing. Then it happened. Oh, it did! The fishing rod gave a twitch. Not a small twitch, mind you. This was a giant, mighty yank. Tiber nearly dropped his rod, his eyes popping open wide, wider than ever before. "Goodness gracious me," he cried. This was no ordinary fish. This was something else entirely. He gripped the rod with both hands, his knuckles turning white as bone. The line sang out from the reel. Sssss. It went like a mad bee. Something huge was down there, something monstrously strong. It pulled and pulled and pulled. The Sardine tipped dangerously, water sloshing over the side. Tiber gritted his false teeth. "I will not let you go," he gasped. He was a stubborn old fellow. He pulled back with all his might, his muscles screaming in protest. The boat creaked and groaned, sounding like it might snap right in two. It did, but Tiber held on tight. He was determined to see what beast was on his line. Slowly, so very slowly, he gained inch by painful inch. The creature was tiring, perhaps, or maybe Tiber was just lucky. He heaved and panted and strained, sweat dripping from his nose. At last a shape appeared, a huge, dark, lumpy shape, bigger than anything he had ever seen. With one final mighty heave, it was aboard. It landed with a tremendous thud. The Sardine nearly sank right then. Tiber stared, his jaw agape. It was a monster, a real one. It was lumpy and slimy and green, with at least 6 wobbly eyes, each blinking at a different time. And it smelled of rotten cabbage and old, very smelly cheese. Tiber backed away, trembling, his fishing hat falling off his head. What on earth was this thing? It quivered on the boat floor, making a gurgling, squelchy noise like mud bubbling in a swamp. Was it dangerous? Would it bite? Tiber poked it with his oar, very, very gently. He did not want to make it angry. The moment the oar touched it, poof, a puff of purple smoke appeared. The monster began to glow, a brilliant, rather startling orange. Then it started to vibrate like a jelly on a wobbly plate. It made a sound like whee, a high-pitched, silly sound. The 6 wobbly eyes swirled around, then they all popped, one by one, pop, pop, pop. The green slime seemed to melt away, the lumpy bits smoothing themselves out. The rotten cabbage smell vanished, replaced by a scent of strawberries. The creature was shrinking fast. Smaller and smaller it became. It wriggled and it jiggled, twisted and twirled. Tiber just stood and watched, his mouth still hanging open wide. And then, just like that, it was done. The transformation was complete. Where the slimy monster had been, now sat a dog. A fluffy, white, perfectly groomed poodle with a smart red ribbon on its head. It blinked its intelligent doggy eyes and looked up at Old Man Tiber, giving a polite little woof, as if this happened every day. Tiber rubbed his eyes hard. He thought he was dreaming. A monster, a poodle, impossible, but there it was, wagging its tail. The poodle then did something even stranger. It stood up on its hind legs, cleared its throat with a tiny cough and began to dance. A proper tap dance it was, tap-tappity-tap on the boat floor. The poodle twirled and leapt, doing a little shuffle ball change, its tiny paws moving so fast. It winked at Tiber, cheekily. Tiber's jaw dropped even further, if that was even possible. He had never seen anything like it. A fish turning into a monster was odd. A monster turning into a dog was odder. But a dancing dog, that beat everything. With a final fancy flourish and a very high leap in the air, the poodle bowed deeply to Tiber. Then it ran to the edge of the sardine, barked once more a happy sound, and jumped into the bright blue sea. But it did not sink. Oh no. It danced across the top of the water, tap dancing away towards the shore, leaving a baffled, bewildered, but smiling Tiber.